your 2023 was a flop, these next 3 months are absolutely crucial in determining how much success that you will see in 2024. Contrary to popular belief, New Year's resolutions do not start on New Year's Day. They start by building up consistent habits, systems, and routines now, so that when New Year's Day comes around, you are going to be well equipped to set yourself up for success and to focus on all of your goals for that year. This video is essentially a head start so that you can get ahead of the curve and you can achieve your dream life so much quicker. So in order to do this, we need to put the focus back onto ourselves and step into our focused era. This video is going to outline 5 steps that you can implement into your life now in order for you to get a head start and get ahead of the curve in time for 2024, because we're not playing about in 2024. We are bringing our manifestations into fruition and achieving our dream lives. I am claiming it for us all. But in order to do that, we need to start thinking about that now rather than postponing it until New Year's Day, like a lot of us do. So let's get straight in. Having a POA, plan of action. You might not have any idea of what you want to do with your life or any idea of what your purpose is. In fact, the mere concept of the word purpose might make you feel so overwhelmed to the point where you just put your head back in the sand and continue to live the life that you're comfortably living now and not seeing any changes in your life. That is so understandable. The concept of purpose can be so overwhelming, especially in this day and age with the narrative that we see all over social media and the time restraints that we're all given, how we need to achieve certain things at a certain age, blah, blah, blah. And it can make it so unbelievably daunting and leads a lot of us to not knowing what our purpose even is or what we even want to do with our life. But once you realize that every single thing that you do in this life, no matter how small or how unmeritable that it seems to you right now, everything that you do is a stepping stone to where you want to be and to where you are supposed to be in life. Even staying in that dead-end job for a lot longer than you probably think you should have done. Even feeling like you've frittered away the last 3 years of your life doing absolutely nothing and doing the same bad habits that you've always had your whole life. Everything that you've done and that you do in this life is a stepping stone. Because if you weren't put in that uncomfortable situation of feeling like you don't have a purpose and feeling really miserable and unconfident in yourself and feeling really lazy and sluggish, you probably wouldn't be here now trying to figure out how to be the best version of yourself. So what I'm trying to say is that you don't need to get disheartened if you don't know what your purpose is in life and you don't know where to even start with a plan of action, because I have got you on that point. I've been there, I've done that, got the t-shirt. What I did personally when I had no idea what the fuck I wanted to do with my life is I just focused on becoming the very best version of myself. I focused every single day on becoming a better me. That was all I really could do at that point because I didn't know what I wanted in life. I didn't know how I was going to achieve the things that I wanted to achieve. I knew that I wanted big things for myself. I knew that I wanted to be successful, have money, have financial freedom, but I didn't know how I was going to get that. And I used to beat myself up so much thinking that I wasn't going to achieve my dreams because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to start. But little did I know that being in that place of uncertainty and confusion and being forced to really go within and focus on myself, learn about myself, do shadow work, inner child healing, all of that fun stuff, I wouldn't be where I am now. In fact, that was the most necessary and integral part of my journey, actually getting to know myself and getting to know the things that I liked and disliked. A lot of people in this world might appear to have their life all together and might appear to have a purpose and know what they're doing in life, but they might literally not even know who they are. They are literally living their life for someone else essentially, because they are trying to be the person that someone else has always told them that they are and the person that that person wants them to be. So many people don't take the time out to get to know themselves and understand what they truly want in this life. So when I say that I focus on becoming a better me, things that I did was I started practicing yoga. I started being consistent with the gym and working out and working towards being the healthiest version of myself. I watched YouTube videos about it. I read books and listened to podcasts about it. And I really focused on that for a good chunk of my life. And I still focus on that now. And then another thing that I did was all the things that I've said before. So inner work, inner child healing, shadow work, all of that deep stuff and really addressing core wounds in my life, which was very uncomfortable uncomfortable at the time and very emotional and sad, but I have learned so much from that I wouldn't change that for the world. So having a plan of action, having something that you can put your focus on in these 3 months and something that you can truly work towards in these 3 months is gonna give you kind of a baseline to work from. So let's say you take my example of your purpose being becoming a better version of yourself. You can just focus on doing things that are going to make you become a better version of yourself, and that can be your plan of action. The next step in this video is also going to help so much with that and keeping on track with it. But having a plan of action, having just something that you know that you're working towards, whatever that might be, having something. Number 2, establishing the habits, systems and routines of your future self and gradually integrating them into your life now. I don't think I need to explain the importance of habits to any of you guys, because you will know that habits are so important. Habits are essentially our subconscious behaviors that we do every single day and we don't even really think about it. And as it stands at the moment, you might actually have more bad habits than you have good habits, and that's completely fine. That is completely normal. But what you want to do is focus on what habits and systems and routines that your dream version of yourself has, and really start to think about how you can start doing those things now. Because when we're talking about becoming the dream version of ourselves and manifesting our dream reality into our current reality, we have to step into that version of ourselves now so that we are prepared and so that we are building the skills and the habits and just the behaviors that your dream version of yourself has. You can throw yourself into the deep end, you can throw yourself into a really strict 5-day-a-week gym routine, you can throw yourself into doing really scary, horrible things every single day. But if you're not setting consistent habits, systems and routines in your life and doing this in a balanced way so that you can sustain it, you're never going to sustain the lifestyle that you're dreaming of, because you're just going to burn yourself out. So pick 5 habits that you want to focus on at a time. Don't overdo it. Don't write a massive list of millions of things that you need to tick off every single day. Just pick 5 things. This is what I've been doing, 5 things. And even if that seems a lot to you, that might be a lot. You might want to just do 3 things to begin, but I feel like 5 is good because you can just sort of experiment with different things and see what works well and what doesn't work so well with you. And the fun part about this is that you have got 3 months to play with this. You have got 3 months to try and fail, to see what you like, see what you don't like, see what works well and see what doesn't work well, so that when the new year rolls round, you're gonna have a set of habits in place that you don't even think about. It's subconscious. It's actually become a habit and you just do these things. Whereas for me, at the beginning of the year, I had this realization on New Year's Eve. So I had to go through that whole process at the beginning of the year and really strengthen the habits that I wanted to set for myself in order to become the dream version of myself. And yeah, it takes time. So having these 3 months as a little bit of a head start, because I know that time is a construct and it doesn't matter whether you start this on New Year's Eve or in the summer or whenever you want to start it, it doesn't really make a difference. But I know that there is a collective energy in the air, and around New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, people are feeling really motivated and people are wanting to go towards their dreams and their goals. So if you're not setting yourself up for that moment and setting yourself up to be feeling as ready as possible to take on that challenge, then you're probably going to feel a little bit rubbish about yourself, because I know that's been me so many years. So yeah, anyway, back to the 5 habits. So setting 5 habits and keeping a tracker of them. You might just do this for the next couple of weeks, just setting 5 habits, seeing how you get on with them, but creating a habit tracker and just keeping a track, keeping a log of the habits that you actually stick to and being honest with that. The key to this is to not be so obsessive about it and so perfectionist about it, where you need to make sure that every single box is ticked for every single day, because again, it's just going to lead to burnout and it's just going to lead to this obsessive compulsive desire to be the very best that you can be, which I don't think is always healthy. I think sometimes we need a little bit of leeway and we need to give space for the fact that we are an actual human being and that things pop up in life. And just because you've not ticked off every single habit on your list for every single day, that doesn't take away from the fact that you are still an amazing person and the fact that you are still going to be more than capable to achieve your dreams. So starting off with 5 and just seeing how you get on with that. I've been keeping a habit tracker since the start of the year consistently, and I've noticed that when I look back on it, there are so many gaps gaps in it. It's never perfect, but the fact that I set that intention every single Sunday when I reset everything and I set the intention for the week to stick to these habits or to have the intention to do these habits, it just gets better and better every single week. Obviously, there are different weeks, like things happen where things are out of your control and you might fall off track one week, but that's completely fine. Like, as long as you have that intention to keep going back to it, that is how you are gonna eventually have these things in place, and it's gonna be second nature. You're not even gonna need to think about it. So I don't know, examples of 5 habits that you could put into place could maybe be meditation, drinking 2 liters of water, moving your body in some kind of way, making your bed, and eating a vegetable. I don't know, just any 5 things you think is gonna be a trait of your future self. Trying to embody that now is so important, and I think it's so key, and I think it just feels so empowering knowing that you've got 3 months to just play around with it and just see what works for you and what doesn't. But again, balance is key with this. Number 3, getting your finances in order. Where are you at with your finances right now? I know it's like the scariest question ever. We don't want to face these things. We don't want to look at our bank account because it seems so daunting and scary, and we would rather live a peaceful, ignorantly blissful life. But bestie, you can't do that forever. And the more that you ignore your financial situation, the more that you are just prolonging the situation that you're in and stunting your growth, really. You're not allowing yourself to make a plan of action to get out of the situation that you're in and create your dream life. I know a lot of people will say that money's not everything and it's not important, blah, 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 but at the end of the day, money is important. In this day and age, money signifies survival. If you don't have money, that essentially threatens your survival, and when you have money problems, it ultimately affects all of your life. I know that when I'm in a situation financially where I'm not doing the best, I don't feel good at all. I feel constantly on edge, I feel depressed, I feel downtrodden in my life, and it is just not good. So I want you to get on track with your finances. Look at your bank account, look at your spending habits. Where is your money going? What debts do you have? How are you going to set a plan in place for you to pay off those debts? No matter how small the payments may be, where is your plan? Where is your plan to get debt free? You always need a plan. You always need to be ahead of your finances and on top of it, because it just brings along a sense of empowerment that you're not going to get if you are not feeling confident with your financial situation. So at the beginning of this year, I was in quite a lot of debt. Like, I was in a lot of debt, but I knew that ignoring it was not getting me anywhere. In fact, it was making me just feel even worse. So I decided to make a financial plan and get really, really clear with my money, where my money was going, my spending habits, getting really clear on that so that I could make an exit plan. So I knew where I was heading, and I knew I was on a track that was gonna get me to the life where I want to be, which was being debt free. It's important when you make a plan to get yourself out of debt to make sure that it's realistic, make sure that you're not overextending yourself and making the payments so big that you just end up by the end of the month spending on your credit card anyway. Make it so it's realistic, make it so it's achievable, and just giving yourself that opportunity to feel empowered by your money situation. And a lot of the time when it comes to finances, you're going to find that you are actually a lot better off than what you think you are, because so many of us have the mindset that we just need to spend. We need to spend money on clothes, we need to spend money on takeaways, we need to spend money on anything that is going to fill the void that is inside of us. But if you're doing all the other things that I've spoken about, if you're working on yourself, if you've got a purpose, if you are working on your habits and all that kind of stuff, you're going to have another focus. You're going to have something else that is going to take your attention and your time. So you're not going to need to really focus on buying loads of shit things that aren't even really going to make you happy in the long run anyway. So I knew that I was going to New York in May. So my goal was that I wanted to pay off my credit card and I wanted to pay off the holiday and have plenty of spending money for when I was in New York, because I didn't want to go to New York for the first time and be miserable because I had no money. And I made a plan, lo and behold, and I stuck to that plan and I paid off my credit card, and oh my god, that was the best feeling ever. I felt so in control of my life. I felt so empowered and I felt so proud of myself knowing that I could do that. I didn't think that I could do that. Like, I don't earn a lot of money at my job. So for me to get into that solution-based mindset and think, right, how am I gonna pay off this debt so that I can be debt-free and I don't have to worry about my finances anymore? How can I do that? I started working more shifts at my second job. I started selling things online. I stopped spending so much money on takeaways. In fact, In the first month where I set my plan, I actually had a lot of money left over, which I was so surprised with, that I actually had enough to create a bit of an emergency fund so that when my car inevitably had so many issues with it and failed its MOT, I had the money to deal with that, and it was absolutely fine. So yeah, get on top of your finances and you're gonna feel so much better. And if you want a book recommendation on this, I would highly recommend reading Rich Dad Poor Dad. That book changed the way that I look at money completely. It changed my whole mindset around money. And yeah, if you buy that book, then you're gonna have something to keep you distracted from buying loads of other things. So I think buy the book, read the book, put the focus on the book, and guaranteed once you've read it, you are not going to want to spend your money frivolously on random things. It's just gonna change your mindset completely. If you're not a book girly, I recommend on Netflix, it's called How to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi, I think his name is, if I've pronounced that right, I'm not too sure, but that program is really, really good, and it's a really good place to get started when it comes to financial literacy. But if you've got a plan in place that you can stick to over the next 3 months, you're already setting yourself up by the new year to be feeling great and to be feeling so empowered and motivated to keep on doing that. And you're not going to have to worry about setting up plans on New Year's Eve and focusing on all that kind of stuff. You can just purely focus on the fun stuff and the goal setting of the things that you want to achieve in 2024. Number 4, the word no is your best friend in this era of your life. When we are putting the focus back on ourselves and we are trying to become the very best versions of ourselves, we have to say no a little bit more. And this one is specifically more so for my people pleasers. Like myself, I am a people pleaser. I am a chronic people pleaser, and I just like to make everyone happy. And I still feel like that now. I still like to make sure that I'm making everyone else happy around me. But I have gotten to a point where I am so tired of putting other people's needs before my own and saying yes to plans that I know deep down in the pit of my stomach that I do not want to do, or I know that I financially can't do right now. There are so many pressures in life, and there are so many people probably pulling you from pillar to post and wanting you to be here, there and everywhere, but you have to set clear boundaries and you have to say no to the things that don't align with you. Even the things that you actually want to do. So say if your friend is like, oh, let's go out this weekend, it's going to be so fun, and you're thinking, wow, it's going to be so fun, I can get dressed up, I can get drunk with my girls, it's going to be so fun. You might want to do that, but you have to get clear on what you can do that is in alignment with your goals and where you want to be. If going out every single weekend is not in alignment with where you want to be in life and the version of yourself who you want to be, then why are you doing that? Why are you saying yes to these plans? And I know for me that I will say yes to plans even though I don't want to do them, and I will make it so like no one would even know that I don't want to do them, because I make it so convincing that I want to do these things, but I don't want to do these things. I don't want to do it at all. I just say yes. But even in situations where a part of me does want to say yes and a part of me does want to go and I've said yes, I still feel rubbish when I say yes to these plans and end up being inevitably disappointed in the event itself, or even just in myself. I had an incident, not an incident, something happened this past week in my life where it really reiterated to me, and I feel like it was such a clear sign from the universe that I just need to keep my boundaries so strong. My friend made plans with friends from school, so we're all friends in school, and she made plans for all of us to meet up and go to this restaurant and have a little bit of a catch up. And I said yes to these plans even though I didn't want to go, and even though I really didn't want to do it, and something within me felt like it just didn't feel right, because these were friends that obviously they were great friends at the time, they served a purpose in that time of my life, but I remember like I used to always be let down by that group of friends, and they always used to cancel on plans, and it would always just be very disappointing. And I just knew in the pit of my stomach that I didn't want to say yes to these plans, but I said yes to the plans, and then the day rolls round, radio silence, no one's messaging at all, and then it comes up to, I don't know, an hour before the plans and they get cancelled, which I was fully expecting, and I was low-key very excited because I thought, oh my god, this is my get out of jail free card. But it just really went to show me that people don't care that much. Like, people don't regard your feelings as much as you regard theirs when it comes to certain things like that. Like, if someone wants to cancel a plan, they're just going to cancel it and they're not going to care about it. So if you want to say no to a plan, you say no to a plan, and don't worry about what other people might say to you. Don't worry if people think that you're changing. Don't worry if people aren't accepting of you not wanting to do as many things. If you're in an area of your life where you're wanting to strive for big things and reach big goals and big heights in your life, you can't be doing the same things as these other people, because they're not going to the same place that you're going. They're not in that same lane as you. They want to be comfortable and they want to be living living the life that they're living now because they're happy and comfortable in it, which is fine, but you don't want that. Like, you want better things for yourself, so you're gonna have to make better decisions for yourself and be a lot more firmer with your boundaries and not being afraid to say no. This is really gonna whittle down the people who are actually important in your life and who actually need to be in your life, because if people can't accept your boundaries and people can't accept the fact that you don't want to do things, then that's not a supportive friend or that's not a supportive family member, and you're probably going to need to accept the fact that they're not going to accept this, but continue on your path anyway, because at the end of the day, it's your life and you need to live for yourself and do the things that you need to do. And say if you don't want to go too extreme and say no to every single plan, you don't have to be rude with it, you don't have to be mean about it. You can do it in a way where you say no to that plan, but you maybe just be clear with them about your situation and just be clear that you either don't want to do these things, or you're not in the position to do these things, or it's just not something that's on your radar right now. But you can make an alternative plan with that person once a month. You can say to them, right, I can't afford to go out every single weekend, but how about once a month we meet up and we have a nice wholesome walk and we get a coffee. Little things like that, just making plans to show them that you still care and show them that you're still there for them, but you are just on a different path right now. That is going to help so much, and the people who matter are not going to be bothered that you are wanting to become a better version of yourself. They're going to be happy for you. And the fifth step is to practice uncomfortability. It is so easy to get away with the bare minimum in the world that we live in now, which is why a lot of us do just get away with the bare minimum. We do the bare minimum because we don't have to do anything else. But then we get frustrated at the fact that we are still in the same place year in, year out, not seeing any kind of change in our life. You are not going to see change in your life unless you are doing things that are scary, unless you are doing things that are uncomfortable and completely out of your comfort zone. Make it a habit to challenge yourself every single day to do something that is a little bit uncomfortable. Whenever your mind thinks of something and then you think, oh no, I can't do that because I don't want to do that, that is a sign that you need to do that thing. You have no choice now. You have to do that thing because you've just said to yourself that you don't want to do it because it's uncomfortable and you'd rather not. That can even be as small as, say you have mugs in your bedroom that you need to take downstairs. When you are consciously making that decision to leave those mugs in your bedroom and not take them downstairs, even though you're going downstairs, you are damaging your trust and your integrity to yourself because you're not showing up for yourself. You're not doing things that you need to do purely because you just don't want to do them. A lot of the things that we put off are the things that are actually really, really easy and they don't take that much thought to do them. So for me, I have a really big mental barrier with selling clothes on Depop. I don't know why. It's really, really something that I just don't want to do and I hate doing it, even though it is such a simple task. But I know that if I do that, I am going to feel so much better because I'm getting rid of clothes that I don't want and I'm making money from it and I am reaching my goals. So just realizing that a lot of things in your life, they might be uncomfortable, but that doesn't mean that you can't do them. In fact, that means more so that you should do them, because the more and more that you do these uncomfortable things, the more and more trust that you will have in yourself, and the more you are setting yourself up to be in a position to say yes to amazing opportunities when they come along. If you're not setting yourself up for that moment, you are going to let so many opportunities pass you because you just don't feel comfortable to do them. You don't have that trust muscle strong enough to know that you can do something uncomfortable. I spoke about this in my last video, but the pain over pleasure thing, it is so important and it rings so true, because when you do something difficult, if you start your day doing something difficult, like waking up at 5 a.m. or taking a cold shower or going for a run or doing some form of exercise, you are really setting the tone for that day. You're setting yourself up for success because you're just going to feel so much better for doing that. So in this next 3 months, make sure that you challenge yourself to do things that are out of your comfort zone and really become quite self-aware of those moments where you know that you could do something, but you're actively choosing to not do it. Becoming aware of those moments, and it'll get to the point where you genuinely can't walk past something without thinking, right, I need to actually do that, I need to sort that out now. And like, this doesn't need to be in an unhealthy way. You don't have to be obsessive about it, but I think it's just fun to give yourself challenges every single day. So say if you just see, I don't know, a tea towel that is scrunched up, you can maybe just fold that up and make it look a bit tidier. Or if your room's looking a mess and you've got 10 minutes before you need to leave the house, but you want to choose to go on TikTok because you can get more dopamine in that time rather than tidying your bedroom, which you know is going to make you feel good in the long run. Just prioritizing the uncomfortable thing and doing the uncomfortable thing so that you can do the comfortable thing later and you can not feel guilty about it. It's going to make such a massive difference to do that, and the more that you practice this now, in these 3 months leading up to the new year, oh my god, just think about how strong your trust muscle with yourself and how strong your integrity with yourself is going to be at that point. You are going to be miles ahead of so many other people, and you are going to be so much more well equipped to reach your goals and set yourself up for success. Okay, so they were 5 tips or 5 steps that you can follow in these next 3 months to really hone in on focusing on yourself, not worrying about what other people think, because you are so tunnel vision on what you want in your life, and being unapologetic about it, because we don't need to be apologizing for everything. We don't need to be living by other people's rule books when we know that we have a greater purpose and we know that there are things that we want to get done in this life. So I hope that these tips helped you in some kind of way. Let me know if you implement any of these tips into your life within the next 3 months. These are all things, by the way, that I am going to be doing in the next 3 months. I am really going to be honing in on these things and really strengthening all of my habits and my routines, strengthening my plan of action, getting firmer on my boundaries, getting my financial situation back into order and investments goals in place, in check, and also practicing uncomfortability. These are all things that I'm going to be doing because I just know that if I really focus on these things now in these 3 months, it's going to be so much easier for me by the time that the new year rolls around, because I'm just going to be prepared, and you will be too if you follow these steps. I hope you guys enjoyed. I love you guys so much. This is also, I've been holding this a whole video, this is like my emotional support child. This is my son. He's called Corgi. Couldn't think of a name for him, and he is a Corgi, so I just called him Corgi. You didn't need to know that. I love you guys so much. I hope you all have amazing weeks, and I will speak to you next week. Bye.